Superhero movies have changed a lot, better CGI, bigger universes, crazier crossovers. But some older films still hit harder than most modern blockbusters. So today, we're looking at the top 10 superhero movies that aged surprisingly well, 2025 edition. Not based on box office, not based on hype, just pure rewatch value years later. If you love rankings, lists, and superhero deep dives, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel more than you know. When The Amazing Spider-Man dropped back in 2012, opinions were all over the place. Some fans loved the darker tone, others missed the Raimi era, and a lot of people were unsure about rebooting Peter Parker so quickly. But today, when you go back and rewatch it, there's something incredibly refreshing about the way it balances emotion and action. The chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone feels so natural that it stands out even more now, compared to the more comedic MCU approach. And visually, that first-person web-swinging still looks fantastic, not perfect, but stylish, unique, and full of personality. The film has gained massive appreciation after No Way Home, which reintroduced audiences to Garfield's version of Spider-Man. Suddenly, fans realized how much weight, heart, and vulnerability he brought to the character. The story may not be flawless, but its emotional tone aged beautifully, especially scenes like the school hallway moment, the bridge rescue, and the heartbreaking ending. It's one of those movies that becomes better when you're older, because you relate to its emotional themes more deeply. What makes Hellboy 2 age so well is its commitment to practical effects and imaginative world building. Guillermo del Toro's creativity is on full display, from the troll market to the elven creatures. Every frame looks handcrafted with love. And that's why it still stands out today, when so many modern superhero films rely heavily on CGI. The fantasy elements mixed with comic book action create a tone that's still unique even in 2025. It looks like nothing else from its era, and honestly, nothing else even today. Story-wise, the film also matured beautifully. Instead of going bigger just for the sake of it, Golden Army explores themes of loyalty, destiny, and the clash between the magical world and humanity. Ron Perlman's Hellboy performance is still unmatched, funny, rough, and unexpectedly heartfelt. This movie proves that creativity and craftsmanship don't age. And rewatching it now, you appreciate just how much Del Toro understood the difference between spectacle and storytelling. First Class is one of those superhero movies that gets better the more times you watch it. The decision to set the film during the Cold War gives it a stylish, dramatic edge that hasn't aged at all. If anything, it feels even more refreshing now. The retro costumes, the 60s aesthetics, and the spy thriller tone separate it from the typical modern superhero formula. But what aged best is the character work. Charles and Eric's friendship, conflict, and inevitable separation remain some of the strongest emotional beats in the entire X-Men franchise. The performances truly stand the test of time. McAvoy shows a softer, more emotional Xavier, while Fassbender delivers one of the best Magneto portrayals ever put on screen, the kind of morally complex character arc that blockbuster movies rarely dare to explore anymore. Combine that with sharp direction, memorable moments like the bar scene in Argentina, and an ending that hits harder with every rewatch, and First Class becomes one of the most timeless superhero films in the genre. If there's one movie that proves great storytelling never ages, it's Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi's direction blends action, emotion, comedy, and genuine character struggle with a level of balance that modern films still struggle to achieve. Peter's life falling apart, the job, the grades, the relationships, hits even harder as you get older. And the visual effects, while obviously dated in places, hold up surprisingly well because of how practical the action feels. Doc Ock's tentacles, the hospital scene, and the train fight still look incredibly grounded and physical. Alfred Molina's Doc Ock remains one of the best comic book movie villains ever, not because he's world-ending, but because he's deeply human and tragic. The film's emotional core gives every action scene meaning, which is something a lot of superhero movies forget. Rewatching it in 2025, you realize this movie wasn't just ahead of its time, it defined the time. And that's why 2 decades later, Spider-Man 2 still feels like a masterclass. Iron Man didn't just start the MCU, it aged into a timeless character study. The film's grounded tone and practical effects make it stand out even more today, especially compared to the CGI-heavy spectacle of later Marvel movies. Tony Stark's arc from arrogant billionaire to reluctant hero still feels sharp, human, and emotionally sincere. And because the movie wasn't forced to set up 10 future films, it's able to breathe and focus on its story. Robert Downey Jr.'s performance remains one of the most iconic castings in movie history. Every line delivery, every moment of vulnerability, every sarcastic comeback, it all feels natural and irreplaceable. Rewatching it now, you appreciate how real the action feels, how tight the script is, and how well the humor holds up. Iron Man aged well not because of nostalgia, but because it was simply crafted with passion and precision. Pixar movies rarely age, but The Incredibles is on a whole different level. Its animation style was so bold, clean, and stylized that it still looks fantastic today. But the real reason it aged so well is the writing. Brad Bird understood superheroes in a way that's both fun and deeply relatable. The family dynamic, the midlife crisis themes, the commentary on society's obsession with mediocrity, it all hits harder when you're older. Every character feels alive, from Bob's struggle to Helen's quiet strength to Dash's childhood chaos. The action sequences, especially the island infiltration and the final robot battle, are still visually thrilling. And unlike many modern superhero movies, it never tries to be bigger than its own story. It's a perfectly balanced film that proves emotional depth and sharp writing never go out of style. This movie aging well isn't a surprise, it was ahead of its time from day one. Mask of the Phantasm is a noir-inspired Batman story with a maturity that even modern Batman films struggle to match. The animation might be simple by today's standards, but the art direction, color palette, and atmosphere are so strong that it still feels visually captivating. Kevin Conroy's Batman and Mark Hamill's Joker continue to define these characters for entire generations. The storyline remains one of the most emotional Batman stories ever told. It explores Bruce's fear of happiness, his struggle with identity, and the cost of choosing the path of the Dark Knight. The Phantasm twist still hits hard, and the themes of loss, morality, and revenge resonate deeply even decades later. This film didn't age well, it stayed timeless. In a world obsessed with connected universes and overpowered heroes, Unbreakable feels even more relevant today than when it released. M. Night Shyamalan crafted a slow burn, realistic superhero origin story long before gritty realism became a trend. The film's quiet pacing, muted color palette, and grounded performances make it feel like a psychological drama first, superhero movie second, and that's why it aged beautifully. Bruce Willis delivers one of his most subtle and powerful performances, while Samuel L. Jackson's portrayal of Elijah Price is haunting, tragic, and unforgettable. The themes of destiny, fragility, purpose, and self-belief resonate even stronger as you rewatch it in 2025. It's a superhero film for adults, for thinkers, and for people who love character-driven storytelling. Time hasn't touched it, it's as gripping as ever. Logan didn't just age well, it cemented itself as one of the greatest superhero films ever made. Even years later, its emotional power is untouched. James Mangold took a character we'd known for decades and gave him a gritty, grounded farewell rooted in pain, regret, and reluctant heroism. The Western-inspired cinematography, muted color tones, and brutal action scenes give the film a raw authenticity that modern superhero movies rarely achieve. What truly keeps this movie timeless is its heart. Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart deliver career-best performances, exploring aging, trauma, family, and identity in a way superhero films usually avoid. And the father-daughter bond between Logan and Laura becomes more moving with every rewatch. This isn't just a comic book movie, it's a powerful human drama that happens to have claws. The Dark Knight is one of those rare movies that continues to feel perfect, no matter how many years pass. Christopher Nolan's crime thriller approach gives the film a grounded realism that still feels fresh in 2025. From the opening bank heist to the emotional finale, every scene is meticulously crafted with purpose and tension. The film's themes of chaos, morality, and justice haven't aged a day. If anything, they're even more relevant now. And of course, Heath Ledger's Joker remains unmatched. His performance didn't just age well, it became immortal. Ledger turned the Joker into a symbol of unpredictable, philosophical terror. The practical stunts, the practical effects, the city-level tension, and the moral dilemmas make The Dark Knight feel like more than a superhero movie. It's a masterpiece of modern cinema that future films will continue to chase. And those were the top 10 superhero movies that aged surprisingly well in 2025. These films didn't just survive the years, they thrived. Which one are you rewatching this year? And what list should I rank next? Worst superhero movies that aged terribly? Most iconic villains of all time? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we've got more superhero deep dives coming every single week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.